Wallabies squad for the 2023 Rugby World Cup, folks. The other day I had a look at Fiji's squad. The forwards were like average of 27 and the backs 26, and I thought, I even said that's going to be the youngest squad at the World Cup, to which Eddie Jones says, nah. He has named a squad, one of the few, which features several debutantes, and yes, what I now think will be the youngest squad. We will go through the squad, who's out, who's in, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. There is certainly a few big talking points for this one. If you missed Eddie's press conference, he very clearly talks about a fresh start, eye on 2027. So he's basically, I think, kind of trying to sweep away some of the old, especially that kind of losing culture, and trying to start things afresh with guys who are maybe not so kind of tainted with some of the losses that have been going on. But yeah, it is definitely different. Faessler, Porecki and Uelese, those are your three hookers. So that's pretty steady as she goes. Faessler got his crack in this rugby championship just gone. He's been training with the Wallabies for a wee while, like long before he got his debut. Porecki's been the main guy starting, and Uelese when he's fit. Certainly a good guy to have in the squad as well. Props, obviously there's no Alatoa because he was injured prior to the World Cup and has had his World Cup chances dashed, sadly, with his ACL injury. But Bell, Fa'amusili, Nonggorr, Schoupp, or is it Schoupp, and Slipper along with Tupou. So it is 6 props for the Wallabies, which is probably a good thing given how injury prone Taniela Tupou is. Obviously it's great to have him there, especially in the absence of Alatoa on the tight head side. But man, the guy's like made of glass. He just gets his calves get injured, and I think it was his ribs last time, really easily. So, geez, he needs to remain fit. And Blake Schoupp from the Brumbies is one of your guys who will potentially get his Wallabies debut. Nonggorr got his debut during the Rugby Championship as well, in the absence of Alatoa, and Fa'amusili potentially becomes your starting tight head from being a guy who's been a bit of a squad player and kind of on the fringes. So big promotion from him. Locks, Arnold, Frost, Phillip and Skelton. Skelton is captain. They asked him in his press conference as well, how many times have you captained sides? He said he thinks he's captained the Wallabies 15 once. So he's not had a heck of a lot of captaincy experience, but yeah, he's like, what, the 5th captain that Eddie's had in how many games? It was Michael Hooper and it was James Slipper, co-captains initially. And then Tate McDermott has had a go at captain. Didn't somebody else get a run at captain? But yeah, the captaincy seems to be switching around a decent amount. But if it's Will Skelton, the Aussie kind of commentary team mentioned how much he's had in terms of his success. He won the Super Rugby title with the Waratahs. He's won things with Saracens, which they didn't mention. But then he also has won a lot with La Rochelle. So he's a captain who's going to lead from the front. And clearly he's going to start games and he's going to play 80 minutes, I would imagine. Big Will Skelton. Richie Arnold is the oldest forward in the squad at 33. And Nick Frost's had a decent amount of game time as well. Matt Phillip retains his spot, but given the look of things, he may be kind of struggling for minutes, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. Lucy's, you got Gleeson, Tom Hooper, Leota, McReight, Valetini, and then they've listed Josh Kemeny as a utility forward, although as far as I'm aware, he only really plays flanker. So maybe he can play lock. He's relatively tall, but then you've got Tom Hooper, who's a lock, loose forward, and then Leota, who's a lock, loose forward. So they've certainly got some height in the back row. McReight, I mean, I said it during the Super Rugby season that he was Australia's Form 7. And he's there. Michael Hooper is not. Now, Michael Hooper is not fit at the moment. According to Eddie, he's got a calf injury. They're not sure when he's going to be right. But he said potentially by the France warm-up game. And given that they've got other guys are carrying injuries, it's not just the injury that's kept Michael Hooper out, clearly. So it seems like Hoops, for all his service to Aussie rugby, is maybe things end there. Potentially, I guess, if McReight was to go down, then Hooper would certainly be the next cab off the rank. But, I mean, there's no Pete Samu either. So they've left some good back rowers out, have the Wallabies. I mean, Valetini's had a lock on that number 8 spot. McReight, as I said, is the form 7. I mean, Jed Holloway's not there either. He's been that kind of lock loose forward guy, but I guess the emergence of Tom Hooper surpasses him. Langi Gleeson was in the kind of rehab group, hasn't had any game time, but he's back in. So Gleeson's 22, Hooper's 21, McReight's 24, Valetini's 24. It's a young back row. Very, very young. Backs-wise, you've got Fines-Leleiwasa, McDermott, and White. Those are your 3 halfbacks. McDermott is vice-captain. Fines-Leleiwasa is one of the guys who comes in uncapped as well. Eddie's kind of talked up his defensive game. And, he's been training with the Wallabies before, so it's not like it's a complete out-of-the-blue one. But it's still a bit of a surprise that he didn't get any time in the Rugby Championship and then is on the plane to France. Carter Gordon is the only fly half in the squad, although they have got Ben Donaldson there, who they've listed as a utility, and his primary position is fly half, but he can also cover fullback as well. So Carter Gordon is going to be the guy. There were people who, prior to the first Wallabies squad selection, said that Carter Gordon was going to be Eddie's guy. Those people have been proven very correct. He's only 22. What that means, though, is there's no Quade Cooper. There's no Quade. So, other guys like Foley and Lolosio have already been on the outer. Quade was kind of the guy who initially started, but no, he's gone. I mean, Eddie, again, just talked about wanting to go younger and how Quade maybe hasn't had 100% since he's come back from his long-term injury. So, I mean, if you're looking for the future and you're looking for 2027, it's a smart move. What can you say? Midfielders, Foketi, Kerevi, Perese, Pitaya. Pitaya is obviously a bit of a utility. He can move out into the backfield if needs be. You would assume Kerevi is going to start. And then it's just whoever kind of partners him in the midfield. But you've got some big old ball carriers with Kerevi and Perese there. So that's pretty pleasing. And then outside backs, Corumbeti, Nawani-Tawase, Jorgensen, Vunivalu, and Callaway. So, man, some kind of left field ones. Jorgensen was another one of those guys in the rehab group. He's only 18 years old. So far and away the youngest guy in the squad. Uncapped. You might have thought you let him have the summer off and then come back fresh for Super Rugby. Get your Wallabies career underway next year. Nope, he's straight into the World Cup squad. He's still about, what did they say, like a month away? Or just about under 2 weeks to a month away from getting fit. So he's in a very similar position to Michael Hooper. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not just Michael Hooper's injury that's kept him out of the squad if they've taken Jorgensen. Eddie did say, again, it's got a mind on 2027. He's going to contribute and it's going to build well to that World Cup. Nawani Tawase has been in great form. Corumbeti on that left wing is also offensively one of their better players. Vunivalu had a bit of a nightmare game early on, so his inclusion could be one that's a question mark. Callaway at fullback's been a bit of a lock since he's managed to come back, which means there's no spot for Tom Wright. There's also no spot for Len Ikitau in the midfield. He had an injury as well, remember, like broken shoulder. There's also no spot for Reece Hodge. So a bunch of kind of regulars in the Wallabies are conspicuous in their absence. Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask guys to pick a starting Wallabies 15, even a couple of months ago, you'd probably have Michael Hooper, you'd probably have Pete Samu, you'd have Ikitau. You may have gone for Quade Cooper if you were going conservative, and then you'd probably have Reece Hodge on the bench because he can cover so many positions, but no, none of those guys make it. Big time changes from Eddie. If you haven't seen it yet, we've been doing the kind of depth chart videos. I've already got the All Blacks one out. So feel free to check that one out. We'll be doing one for Australia. I say check the All Blacks one out because it'll be vastly different from what we see from Australia. Like if you're looking at the depth during that World Cup cycle which has been built and which then goes to the World Cup, the All Blacks one looks pretty tidy, and that the majority of the guys who've been the key candidates in their positions are on the plane to France, whereas this squad is going to have a lot of guys kind of bolting out of nowhere. A lot of guys who've had a heap of experience been dropped. But fresh start from Eddie. They've got a game against France as a warm-up. They've got then games against Georgia and Fiji in their opening 2 games. The game against Wales and then a game against Portugal in their pool. So Fiji's been in great form. Wales are also kind of on a rebuild, also going for a bit of youth in their squad from what we've seen from Gats so far. And then you cannot sleep on the Georgians. The Portuguese have been their first World Cup in a wee while. It's been a long time between drinks for the Portuguese. So, yeah, these guys are going to get a good test. They do have James O'Connor and Folau Fainga'a kind of training with the squad at the moment as well. So you would think those guys are also going to be kind of potentially next cabs off the rank if there are guys to get injured. And Eddie did say, man, like, look how many guys got injured in the Rugby Championship campaign. There are guys who've been left out of this World Cup squad who will end up featuring potentially the likes of a Hooper. I don't know about Cooper. Maybe a James O'Connor, maybe a Pete Samu, Jed Holloway. Guys like that, Reece Hodge, you never know. Certainly somebody is going to make the squad who is not on this 33 just yet. But yeah, certainly one of the more interesting ones in terms of the guys that have been dropped. Eddie swings the axe, rejigs his Wallabies with an eye on youth and an eye on the future. Average age of 26. Young. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.